Welcome to the Embracing Race podcast. All episodes were recorded in advance, so don't be alarmed if the timeline seems a little bit cattywampus.
Welcome to Embracing Race Conversations with Truth and Intention. I am your host, Shawnee. My pronouns are she, her.
I'm Jessie, and my pronouns are they, them. And we're back for another week.
Jessie, where you get your microphone? I like
my mic. I originally bought this for National Capital, and then I bought them their own. And that was like a year ago. And I liked the one I got for them so much for presbytery meetings. I was like, oh, I'm just going to buy my own. So, and it was like cheap. It was like, I'll send you the link for it.
Is it a USB?
Yeah, you just plug it into your computer.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And it's the same one that we use at the presbytery meetings. So
yeah. And
it's good sound.
Very good audio.
Yeah. So, and it's like less than $30.
Wow.
So it's not like one of the super fancy mics, but I'm on a budget. So
I mean, it sounds amazing. So,
but we do have a wish list. So if you want to support the Embracing Race podcast, you can go on our Amazon wish list and help us get better tech. Or you can now be a subscriber to the Embracing Race podcast and donate any amount of money that you would like. You can visit our Facebook page to find that link.
Or you could just go ahead and be a sponsor.
You could be a sponsor.
Shout out.
A shout out every day, every episode.
Every episode. I go back. Well, I don't always. I just started this season. Why am I having a brain fart with the word?
What word?
Binge listen.
Our podcast?
Mm-hmm. I binge listened season 1, and I have been listening to this season as it drops, like in real time with the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And I just want to first low-key say that we are pretty awesome. And also, I mess up sentences. All the time, like every episode, it's a sentence that I'm like, that's not what I meant.
But it all makes sense. Everybody seems to understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying.
I can't even remember what it was. I'm gonna go back and listen to it. But I like last week's episode, I was like, when we were together, and I said something. And I'm like, no, that's not the word, Shawnee. And then, but you knew exactly what you meant.
Yeah. I always know what you mean. Yeah. At least, though, one thing I appreciate about you is that you always finish your sentences. And so I remember right before my senior year of college, I did like part-time transcribe. I had a couple part-time jobs this summer before my senior year of college, and I did some part-time like transcribing for the woman named Stephanie Kamenier. She's like my mom, and she works for the University of Pittsburgh. She's a adjunct professor there, and she's like, "Hey, I need you to transcribe these videos that I'm doing with my students." And she like was interviewing them about whatever their topics of papers were or whatever. And the woman, I love her dearly. Steph, if you listen to this, you know I love you, and you know that this is a problem. She would start a sentence, get 3 words into it, start a new sentence, get 3 words into it, start a new sentence, never finished a fucking thought. It took like an hour to get through like 5 sentences. And I'm like, I cannot transcribe you anymore because you never finished your fucking thought. And yeah, but so at least I understand your thoughts. I know where you're going with your thoughts.
But every episode, there's like at least one sentence where I fuck up the word. I say the wrong word.
It's all good.
Like I sound really well read and smart and intelligent, and then I go back and listen to myself and I'm like, Shawnee, slow down. I can hear my mother saying slow down.
Yeah. I get
Slow
that.
down. She used to always think that like you made mistakes because you rushed. Slow down.
Yeah.
Gather your thoughts.
Yeah. I tell that to Sarah all the time. Like Sarah gets nervous and then just talks really fast. And I'm like, babe, you just need to breathe and slow down. Everything will be fine. Don't try to rush through anything. You got this.
Yes.
But yeah, I think we're doing a great job and
I
people are
do think
listening.
if I do say so myself, I think
Our second season is already, thank you everybody. Our second season downloaders are already up from last season. Like we're already tracking ahead of where we were last season. So thank you to everybody who's listening. We do this for us and for you.
Absolutely.
We really enjoy doing this.
We do. I mean, I have fun doing it.
I do.
And and what I like about it is that I learn something new about you every time we talk.
Yeah. Although yesterday, she's like, I just listened to the third episode and I would like to know how close you were to Shawty to know that she has a tattoo on her boob. She's like, how exactly do you know that, Jesse? I'm like, she was wearing a very low cut top, I promise.
That was funny though. I was like bringing back old bad decisions.
But today, what do we want to talk about?
It's a new day. What are we talking about today? Well, not a lot. Well, I mean, a lot could be happening, but nothing that really caught my eye in news. But so our new segment, I Can Get With This, we failed to mention when we started last week, Taylor and Travis, and I can get with that.
I can get with it. I just want her to be happy.
Yes. And apparently he went to a show in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
So were they on a buy? Was Kansas City on a buy? I don't
know, but I know that she changed one of the lyrics to her song to incorporate him into it.
I heard that's pretty badass.
Although I read an article the other day, or like saw an article that's like, this is not the first time that Taylor's been public about her relationships. I'm like, no shit. Her entire career has been based on songs that she's written about her exes. So yes, obviously.
It's not new. But yeah, I can totally get with this. And I just like him. And I caught a smidget of his podcast with his brother, and they have good chemistry too.
They do.
I mean, which they should. They are brothers, but they're really fun. They're really fun.
Yeah. I just appreciated last year at the Super Bowl, like they did a good job of supporting each other, even though they were playing against each other. And I remember the clip of I think their mom going to see the brother that was on the Phillies, gave him a big hug, and was just like, I'm doing okay. Go celebrate with Travis. Like he needs you. And I just that older brother mentality of like, I'm good. Go be with him. It's okay.
Cool. That was so. Yeah.
I hope that they're as cool in real life as they seem.
I think they are. Yeah. So y'all know I'm obsessed with the Today Show, right? And so Chanel Jones, one of the co-anchors of the 9 o'clock hour, has this segment through Mom's Eyes, and she interviews like the mothers of the famous people that we admire, and gets tips on how they were raised or what have you. And so she did one with Mama Kelsey. The fact that I'm calling her Mama Kelsey.
You're intimate with her.
I'm all in. Like she's like everybody's mama. Like, and so I just feel, so I think what we see is the real thing.
Good.
Like I hope it is.
Yeah, but we can get with it, and we wish them the best. Okay,
so this comes into my mind, and I don't even know why it just popped into my mind, because it happened to me on Sunday, and now that I noticed it I want to talk about it.
Okay.
So I had to preach on Sunday.
Okay.
And I preached on the Philippians 4:1-8 passage, focusing on the whole part of whatever, right? So 2 points that I want to make, and I'm sorry I didn't give you a heads up.
You're fine.
Okay, so I'm preaching, and so so at one point in the sermon, and feel free to go back and watch it or whatever if you want to, but I mentioned that you know, I made it personal. I said, I don't have everything I need, but I still choose joy. Right. Mm-hmm. So I want to get a sidebar before I tell you what happened to me. I am always preaching from, well, I don't want to say always, but in the back of my mind, I always have this intentionality that I need to be preaching I don't want to use the word marginalized, but I don't have another word for it, but for the least of them in the room, whatever that means.
Those who've been told they're the least of them. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so got finished. There's two services. Got finished with that, had about 40 minutes, maybe less than 40 minutes for the second service. And this woman came up to me. So for those that are listening, because we're on video and video only drops, the video drops later in the week. So she's pointing and wagging her finger at me. I need to challenge you. And I said, okay, against my better judgment, right? Because everybody I talk to, whenever I'm approached like this, people, especially white people, always ask me, why did you entertain this? Because I have not reached a level where I feel like I can walk away. I don't feel like I'm there. Like, I don't know what's going to take, but I'm still because I don't want to be a diva. I know it has nothing to do with being a diva, but that's just in my mind. And if you know who I've worked for, then you would be like, okay, I get it.
Yes.
Humility.
Was it a white person that approached you? Was it a white person?
Okay. Yes, right. And so she's like, I was just taken aback that you would say you don't have all that you need. I didn't expect that from you. Because the Bible says, and look, I always use that phrase, but I use that phrase in a totally different way. Like, I'll use the phrase, like, especially when I'm talking to my kids, I'm like, well, the Bible says, like, I use it in a much more, like, to me, in an invitation, like welcoming all people, right?
Yeah.
And I just felt really like I didn't feel the same love. Right? Because number one, I got this finger in front of me that I was really, because I didn't, okay, y'all, I'm from Southeast DC. And when a finger is pointed in your face like that, it's almost like you're supposed to just slap it.
Yeah.
Like you're just supposed to move it away.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So, but I don't condone violence, so I didn't go there. But I was thinking it. And then I was thinking it, and I had to go preach again. And that was blowing me too, that I was having this thought, right? And then but something, it was the Holy Spirit. It was not something. The Holy Spirit did this beautiful and divine thing, gave me language that made me sound really, number one, pastoral, and number two, I was like, where did this come from? You remember how I always be like, I had this moment like Drop Dead Diva.
Yeah.
Like when Jane is like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
when she has like a really like intelligent moment.
Yeah.
Like, I go back and watch Drop Dead Diva. Jesse will tell you about it after I finish my story. But anyway, I had that moment. And I said, well, I have to beg to differ with you, because you're coming from a place of privilege, in the sense that, it's easy to talk about what the Bible says we should do, but there are people that don't have their basic needs met.
Yep.
Right? They don't have their needs met. I said, what about the person? I said, before I went into my whole example, I said, I don't know who's going to hear this message. And I'm talking to perhaps the person that slept under the Sousa Bridge last night and needs a home. They need shelter. They don't need a Bible story. They don't need to be told what the Bible says. What they need is a place to live. And if we get too caught up in me saying, I don't have everything I need. And that doesn't make me less faithful. That doesn't make me less spiritual, less trusting of God, to say I don't have everything I need, but I still have joy. I don't know. I just was really taken aback by her criticism. Or she said challenge. It was a challenge for me. But I would have never had probably brought this up if she didn't have her finger in my face. And ever since that incident, I keep seeing a lot of white people do that to other white people. And is that a thing, Jesse?
The finger wagging? Finger wagging?
Yes.
I don't know if it's a thing. People don't wag their fingers in my face, that's for sure.
So, okay, after this happened to me, right? I go get coffee, I use the bathroom, I come back, and it's like maybe 8 minutes for the second service to start. And this gentleman came up to the associate pastor that was there and wagged his finger in her face. And I'm like, is this common? I was just like, wow, this is just, maybe I'm reading too much on this, but I just don't like it.
It's so demeaning. And it's so parenty. Like,
you remember when that senator wagged her finger in President Obama's face?
Yeah.
Tarmac.
Yeah.
I was like, that's what we doing? I don't know. It just seemed weird.
No, I don't know. That's so like dominating. And it's so simple, but like, yeah, right. You can't see us but you know what we're doing.
Right. I don't know. It was weird to me. Oh my gosh.
You okay?
No, because I'm trying to figure out how I got toothpaste all the way up here. I got 3.
I didn't notice it until you just pointed it out.
Well, first I thought it was the little tag thing that I guess you're supposed to hang your shirts on.
Yeah.
But I ripped those out, so I was trying to figure out why I was still hanging. Man,
I didn't even notice it. You're good.
Oh my gosh. This is crazy. Okay, so you want to give them a 30-second about Drop Dead Diva?
Yeah, so
in context.
Yeah, Drop Dead Diva was a show, I believe it was on Lifetime for a while, that this 2 people died, this woman named Jane and this woman named Deb, and Deb is this super cool, like high-powered model who dies, and her soul gets placed in the body of Jane, who is a plus size, kind of in her own right, like blah lawyer. And so at first she's like, I can't believe that I'm in this body of this overweight middle-aged woman. And then she goes about transforming Jane, not necessarily in her size, but in her entire demeanor and confidence. And then like herself becomes transformed. And what Shawnee was talking about, in that she like would say all these things. So when Deb's soul goes into Jane's body, she retains all of Jane's knowledge and like memories for the most part. And so there'll be moments where she's in court and she'll just like blurt out this super intelligent lawyer-esque speak, and then she'll just literally like pause and be like, oh shit, I didn't know where that came from, and then keep going. And so it's funny, it's witty, it sounds silly, but it's silly in such a good way. And if you watch Sweet Magnolia on Netflix, Brooke Elliott, who's on that show, plays Jane on this show.
Yes, I love her.
Yeah, she's
I absolutely love her. So that's which. Then I had another moment. I had another kind of Jane moment when I was preaching the second service. I left my notes and I was just preaching, right? And for like 10 seconds, I'm like, I'm a professional, right? Now, I know that I am a professional, but I didn't realize how professional I was, right? Like, because I went right back into the, like, I felt so confident in my skin. So after coffee hour of the second service, one of the a member of the bell choir came up to me and she's like, thank you so much for your sermon. She's like, I noticed you switched it up a bit for the 11 o'clock. And I was like, yeah, the Holy Spirit did that. And she says, well, it's, that's how you can really tell someone reading from the paper versus a professional public speaker. And that was like the confirmation. Like I'm like, thank you so much. I got so excited. I didn't even know this woman. Like, I wanted to hug her and be like, I know I just know this, but she didn't know me, so didn't. I contained my energy, but I was so excited.
Yeah, that's awesome. I need to like start memorizing my sermons now then.
I didn't say I memorized it. I did not say that.
You just said you didn't have your notes, so you did.
But I don't know what I also don't know what I said, which I had to go back and watch myself. I usually don't watch myself preach. Yeah. I don't do but I had to go back and watch it because I'm like, okay, that's the part where I left my notes. Gotcha. Like I could tell. Yeah. I just wanted to know where. I'm like, wow, Shawnee, that was pretty good.
Well, I don't know if you know it, but Leanne Hodges only preaches from like this very slim outline. People ask her all the time, can you give me a copy of your sermon? She's like, no. And she'll like flip over a paper, it's 5 sentences, and she just like off the top of her head. And the same thing has happened to her at Gaithersburg, that people be like, you switched it up from the second to the first to the second service. She's like, yes, I did. So I mean, you are among the gifted.
Hashtag blame it on Jesus.
That's our episode title.
Okay. Louisiana governor-elect withholding funds to New Orleans. So
y'all got to know why he's withholding funds. This man is withholding funds to the decaying water infrastructure bill. Like, everything is going to shit and he's holding it. Why, Shawnee? Why is he holding back funds?
Because he wants to prosecute women who have abortions after the, I guess, 15 weeks in Louisiana. What sense? Please, last week's episode was Make It Make Sense. This is like, what the actual...
Yeah.
I don't even understand. This is why I'm telling y'all, and we're going to be saying this for the next year until the general election. President, elections have consequences. People need to do a better job at vetting and researching the people that are on the ballot.
Yeah.
Period. Do not get your source of information from one place. Yeah. Do not. Look for independent news outlets. I can't say that Embracing Race is independent. I can't really tell you. We are not.
We are not.
We are not independent. We have a viewpoint and we are very much in favor of our view.
Mm-hmm.
We welcome people to the table to have a conversation, but I don't even want you to just take it from us. You do your due diligence, because elections have consequences, and you get people in power that make no sense, that are basically going by their own personal, which I had to wrestle with this for a moment, because, as a public servant, you are elected for the people, right? Mm-hmm. And you are supposed to represent the people that you're actually supposed to represent all the people, even those that did not vote for you when you take office, and all the people's lives matter. Which I know it's hard. That would be hard to juggle, but I think there's got to be this moral compass that you look at and say, I am a representative of all the people, but these people are dying. Yep. I got to focus on this group, and then I got to focus on this group. Like this is why I probably will never ever be a politician, because it is difficult. I get it, but you can't just be an asshole. Like, there's too many assholes.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you can, and you just put yourself in the right place to be an asshole, because nobody's gonna challenge you on it.
Yeah,
I think what's disappointing too, and I know it's complicated, is that only, I think it was 36, I looked it up, 36% of registered voters showed up to vote for this person. Like, so yeah, he went through in a landslide. And I know it's complicated because there is significant voter suppression and voter rights suppression and a lot of disenfranchisement going on, especially in the South. But we know it's complicated. And if you don't like the results of an election, then you need to show up and vote. And if your rights are being suppressed to get to the polls, then join the demonstrations, do the research about how to overcome voter suppression. And if you know that people's rights are being suppressed and that's not you, then you also need to show up and make sure that those people can vote. Because again, like we talked about last week, even if you're not personally affected by something, you need to vote on behalf of those that you know are affected by it. So show up at these you're right. Elections have consequences. And if you don't vote, they also have consequences. So
I also just realized, when I was totally agreeing with you, I say absolutely every single episode at least 6 times. Absolutely. Like,
I feel affirmed.
I don't have another thought. I think you mic drop so many times, and I'll be like, there's nothing else for me to say, but yes, or absolutely, or you're so right. I said that like 40 times. Right.
I think what I keep thinking about this election going in is that I know Black women are tired. I know that they are tired. Like, you are literally carrying the weight of this country on your shoulders. And I can't help but feel that they are going to be, yet again, the only saving grace that we have going into the 2024 election.
I mean,
okay. Like, that's literally, I wear this shirt as often as I can because I believe it. My shirt says, "Thank you, Black women." Because I get questions about it, and I'll say outright, like, our country is the only reason we are surviving is because of Black women.
Well, I appreciate that, Jesse.
But I know you're going to be the saving grace of this election. If it comes out in a way that is favorable towards human rights, it'll be because of Black women, and
we got work to do.
And if it doesn't go in the way of human rights, it'll be because straight up of white people, probably white women.
Well, I couldn't look at that white spot on my shirt anymore.
Wardrobe change.
sorry, y'all. I just couldn't do it.
What did you put on? Like a shawl or something?
Yeah, that was the closest thing without getting up. And everything that you said, yes, everything you said. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm over it, but there's still a lot of progressive white women that are so upset about white women from 2016. Like 2016. Like, I'm like, but I already knew that was gonna happen. I did not cry on election night 2016. It was a lot of people that were in tears.
Yeah.
I didn't cry. I not that I was that stoic, but I'm like, what y'all thought was gonna happen?
Mm-hmm.
I just knew that America, even though we call America a she, America is not ready to be led by a she. Yeah. And that's just the bottom line.
Yeah. Although I will say I did cry when Biden and Kamala Harris got elected.
And, I did too.
And like, I think it was after they had officially called it, and they had their it was the beginning of November, or it was a couple weeks, it was a couple days after the election, and they were like on stage, and it was just really beautiful, and they both came on, and it was that moment of like, holy shit, they did it, and like, there is the first female vice president. That moment got me for sure.
And and I'm not gonna lie, but when Georgia turned blue, I cried for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I did not think that's what helped him win, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't think. I was so nervous about Georgia because Georgia is so fickle. The way they do my girl Stacey down there, I just don't even know.
I don't understand, because she's just so brilliant, and they cannot handle her. They cannot handle her brilliance.
Just the whole, like, the first election. Like, I had to school a friend of mine like some years back when I was like, this dude is essentially the Secretary of State of Georgia, the Secretary of State, for those who might not know the way ethics and politics work, is in charge of state elections.
Mm-hmm.
He does not recuse himself and runs for governor of the very race that his department has to certify. If you don't tell me that that's not a conflict of interest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It worked. Let's also remind ourselves that he worked a year and a half prior to that to redistrict the voting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To make it favorable for himself.
Yeah. What is it? Alabama and Georgia are like the two states where voting restrictions for Black people are like at their highest right now.
Yes. Yeah. It's just ridiculous. And then I apparently, like, I guess Georgia also has a problem with, like, all of these hospitals are closing because they won't accept Medicaid.
Mm-hmm.
Their school systems are at an all-time low because they don't pay their teachers.
Mm-hmm.
Yet 72% of teachers voted for him.
Yeah.
Again, you vote against your own self-interest. Make it make sense. Yeah. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
No, doesn't make sense. No. And I think,
why would I vote for somebody that's going to affect that is negatively impacting my livelihood?
Mm-hmm.
Why would I do that?
Right. Just
because he's white?
Yep. Racism runs deep, bro.
Oh my gosh. This is just ridiculous.
And again, I think people see Georgia and they think Atlanta. That's what, like, Georgia is not Atlanta at all.
That's what my girl Lene Vinay says after every Georgia election. Y'all keep thinking Georgia is Atlanta, and see your feelings gonna get hurt every single time.
Mm-hmm. And people think the same thing about like Pittsburgh or Pennsylvania. They think Pittsburgh or Pennsylvania is Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. And I'm
No,
like, no,
it's
it's
Scranton.
Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, and everything in between is
Yep.
all red.
It's Scranton and where I used to on the map. Oh, thank you, Siri. Pulled up a map of Pittsburgh. Wasn't looking for it. But yeah. All right. Okay, enough about politics. Let's go back to pop culture because I think this is a beautiful, beautiful story.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know that when it comes to the intersectionality of being Black and queer, mm-hmm. it is so different than other spaces, right?
Yeah.
Especially in church, right? Mm-hmm. We're not going to talk about, but I think the Wayans are Jehovah's Witness, but that's neither here nor there either. But so Marlon Wayans' mm-hmm. son is trans.
Yes.
And came out and was like, it was a process. But I just love when parents don't know what to do with this information, but they're willing to love their children through the unknowing. Mm-hmm. I think that's the beauty of the story.
Yeah.
Right. I don't get it. What does this mean? But to have a parent that is not just going to reject their child, I think that's just an incredible testimony.
Yeah. And he did the work. Marlon did the work of recognizing what his own feelings were. He said he felt a sense of betrayal. He said he felt like rejected in a way. And so he did, what I appreciate about him is he did not make his journey about his child. Like his child was not responsible for fixing that relationship. Marlon recognized within himself, no, I'm the one who needs to do the work. I'm the parent in this situation, and I'm going to figure out what's going on in here so that I can be fully present for my child. And I think, what did he say? He's doing a whole special about his transition as a parent of going from being ignorant and uneducated to fully embracing, still learning, but fully embracing who his child is. But also he's like, ultimately he said, I just want my child to be free and happy. And like that language to me of recognizing, going back to what we say all the time, like nobody's free until everybody's free. Like recognizing within himself, like this isn't about me. This is about my child and my child's happiness. And just like, especially now in the model that we have seen, from other celebrities whose children have come out or who have expressed their views about kids being transgender, I'm glad to see that he has come out. And I almost like, okay, it'll take some heat off of the Dwayne Wayne and Gabrielle Union. Like they don't have to be the spokespeople for trans children anymore.
Right. And but I also think it might be just a little bit different with in Marlon's case, because his son is a adult.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I think people have not been able to embrace the Wades because Zaya was so young.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't think that, I don't think age and autonomy, I don't think you have, I mean, even my girls go to their yearly physical on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
When I was scheduling the appointment, the scheduler reminded me that by DC law, Michaela can request to go in to see the doctor by herself.
Right.
Am I okay with that? I'm absolutely okay with that. I have been wanting to leave the room. I don't know. I'm just not that parent that I don't like. That's your body.
Yeah.
right? Like that, it doesn't, I'm not, I I don't even know how to say it without making it like I've never been like my mother wasn't that. My mother wasn't that type of parent. So I don't even know what that even looks like. I don't even know how to be that type of parent where I gotta know.
Like I would hope, I mean, my kids are so young, so obviously like we're gonna be going into doctor's appointments for a long time now. But like Sarah and I talk about all the time, like we hope that we're the kind of parents that have a relationship with our kids, that they feel comfortable talking to us about anything, including the hard stuff, and especially the hard stuff, so that in situations like these of, do you want your parents to come into the doctor's office with you? And if they say no, like we're not going to sit there. Yeah, we're not going to sit there in the waiting room like, oh shit, is something going on that we don't know about? Because we'll feel comfortable enough to know if there's something going on, they're going to tell us anyway. Maybe it's just my son's a boy and he doesn't want to undress and like expose himself in front of his mom's. Like, okay, I don't give a shit. Like, go do your thing. It's fine.
Yeah, this is what I was raised like this, and this is how I've raised my kids. I want you to be able to tell me everything. If you don't feel comfortable telling me everything, tell your doctor everything.
Yes.
Because the doctor is there to not judge you, but make sure that you're safe.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So tell the doctor everything. My mother used to say, it'll go a little bit off topic, but my mother was funny. She used to say, and if you do drugs, tell them all the drugs that you do. Like, okay.
Yes.
But she was saying that because I mean, like, if you gotta be prescribed something and you are doing something else, they don't want to give you something that's gonna make you sick.
Yeah.
So they need to know what you've been taking. That's why they ask you, are you a drinker? Yes. And so I've never lied. Like I've never lied on an intake.
Yeah, no.
How often do you drink? Every day of my life. I kid y'all. Y'all thinking I hope y'all don't think that I drink a lot, but I don't drink a lot.
There's no judgment. This is a judge-free zone. This is a judge-free zone. But no, I hope people are comfortable talking to their doctor. I mean, I think about Toby so often, having two parents, like both anatomically female. Yes, I don't identify as female, but like I don't know a lot about the penis. I don't know a lot about male puberty. Like,
right.
You know, if you have a male doctor that can talk to you about shit, then that's fine. Go talk to him about whatever it is that you need to talk to him about, because I just don't know. Like,
I don't have it. That's like when, okay, so, I've been a single parent, like off and on most of my parenting years, right? So around the time when, so I was divorced by the time I've been divorced twice, y'all. So I was divorced the first time right around the time my only son, was getting potty trained, right? So he got potty trained, and I don't remember like what happened, but my girlfriend had a son who's about 2 years older than Roderick.
And I know where this is going. So
Roderick was like 3.5, and he watched the little boy was peeing standing up, right? And this light bulb came on. He was like, you can pee standing up? And I'm like, the nerve at 3 to like come for me. Like I didn't like Roderick, how can I can't show you how to do that. So this is why I was like, see, that's why I take a village. It takes a village to raise a child, because I mean, he would have never, poor thing. Yeah. He would have sitting down till he was.
Yeah, we've told Toby Like it's easier to teach them sitting down, and he learns sitting down because that's obviously what we know to do. But in general, like what I've heard from other guys too, like it is easier to teach them to just sit down. And at the same time, if we're around other people and he goes to the bathroom with like one of our guy friends and his kids, like he'll ask us, is he a sitter or is he a stander?
Okay.
He's a sitter. And then he'll be like, well, if I show him how to stand, is that okay? You want to show him how to stand and go pee? That's fine. You teach him how to aim and you're like golden. That's the difference.
Yes. Oh gosh, it's too funny. But yeah, so
yeah.
Well, that was like the happiest day of his life. Also, the second happiest day of Roderick's life was when he realized that he could order McDoubles without pickles. He was like 7. He was like, whoa, his life changed.
He's not a pickle kid. He doesn't like pickles.
No. And he was so like, funny. It was so funny because he heard someone order. He's like, you can ask that? And I'm like, Roderick, you don't like pickles? No, mommy. I didn't know.
That's so funny. Yeah, at Wendy's, ever since I was a kid, like I don't like mayonnaise or anything like that. I don't like any tomatoes on my or anything like that on my sandwich. So I'd always order a chicken sandwich at Wendy's, and I would only ask for ketchup and pickles. And like literally, I just wanted number 7 with just ketchup and pickles, and they would look at me like I was crazy. I'm like, look, I'm a kid. Ketchup and pickles. That's all I want.
Alicia goes to Subway. You know what she puts on her Italian BMT?
Just the meat.
Just the pepperoni and lettuce.
Not the salami or the ham or anything like that.
Just pepperoni and lettuce.
No condiments. It's just bread, pepperoni, and lettuce.
It's the driest ass sandwich ever. Like, did you choke on the third bite? Do you need some water? And then they charge the same price, by the way.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit.
Yeah, I'm like, we can make this at home. We're gonna have Subway. We're gonna have Subway at La Casa. Like, no, we're not doing that.
That's funny. Oh man, that just sounds dry. Like, what? Does she use like white bread or something, or does she like use one of the grainy ones to make it extra dry?
No, plain. Yes, that's my picky eater.
That's great. I love that. And we went all over the place today.
We did. I don't even like, where did we start and where did we end? Where are we going?
I don't even know. We just went everywhere. We talked about potty training. Oh, I love us. I love us.
I love us too, because that was hilarious.
I love it. I love it. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good week. We'll see you, or you'll hear from us in a week.
We're back. A week, every Tuesday, we drop. Peace. Pause. Time to hear from our sponsors. The Embracing Race podcast is sponsored by the Gen Out Youth Chorus. Gen Out is an outreach ensemble of the Gay Men's Chorus of Washington, D.C. Gen Out's mission is to give young LGBTQ plus and allied youth a voice to connect to the community. The ensemble is open to all singers between the ages of 13 and 18. For more information, contact www.gmcw.org. Isn't it our hope that we could come together as a society across the chasm of race and become the beloved community that Dr. King imagined? Interwoven Congregation's mission is to organize and support partnerships between faith communities with different racial compositions in order to foster racial justice and healing. For more information, visit interwovencongregations.org. HOD Records. It is not HOD, but it is HOD, no periods in between. HOD Records is a talent and artist development company that specializes in artistry development and content creation. Serving the DMV and beyond, HOD creates a family-centered management style that promotes a collaborative spirit. Check out HOD Records on all social media platforms and visit hodrecords.media for more information. Thank you all to our sponsors.
The Embracing Race podcast, hosted by Elders Shawnee McElwain and Jesse Littlejohn, tackles all topics from pop culture to faith and the intersectionality of white supremacy and racism. Nothing is off limits, as we hope to educate and transform with radical love. For more information, visit us at embracingrace.online or on Instagram at embracing_race_podcast. If you'd like to be a guest on the podcast, or if you would like to submit a comment or question, please email embracingracepodcast@gmail.com.